Thanks for staying on live with you here on the newsfeed PM Newzroom Afrika, channel 405. We have been listening to the testimony of witness F at the Madlanga Commission. The man believed to be the middleman between suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack and alleged criminal underworld kingpin Vusimuzi Matlala. He has denied, of course, introducing the pair to each other. Witness F, who is an officer working in Sibiya's crime detection unit, had earlier applied for another postponement, citing how they could possibly incriminate themselves further after being mentioned in President Cyril Ramaphosa's statement amongst those for further investigation. Well, Sibiya's alleged runner has been reluctant to delve into the WhatsApp message exchange with Matlala. Witness F has also become the latest to bring an urgent court interdict against the commission, which will be heard next Tuesday. Our senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo has been listening in to the proceedings all morning. Joins us now live. Mapoloba, good to have you from the capital. Witness F, who is supposed to be the middleman, quite reluctant to take that title, saying, no, I'm just merely passing the message from one to another, denying ever being present in any of the meetings, saying, I respect them too much to ever sit in the same meeting as them. What else are you hearing?
So much has come out from the testimony from witness F. Earlier on, we heard about this alleged unlawful arms deal between witness F and a person who is saved on his phone as Comrade Mabuza. Now, witness F denies that this was the late deputy president that he was communicating about with regards to around 750 units of guns. And witness F was being pressed on why he would be having such a conversation, what those weapons were going to be used for, and if this was going to be a sale, was the sale going to be lawful? Well, witness F firstly says he saved the nephew of Mabuza as a Comrade Mabuza because this nephew was so obsessed with his uncle, he decided to save Sibiya Mabuza's number as Mabuza. But also, to his knowledge, Sibiya Mabuza was involved, or he thought he was probably preparing for some kind of business venture. Now, these are some of the WhatsApps that have been led by Chief Evidence Leader Matthew Chaskelson. But before the short comfort break, they had also turned their attention to messages and which would seemingly prove this role that witness F played as a runner, because he is seen to be a person who was arranging a meeting between General Shadrack, his boss, and Steve Mutsumi. Now, you'll recall that the name Steve Mutsumi came up last Friday as a part of the safety concerns that were raised by witness F, saying that they don't want to mention this particular individual's name, and that General Nkosazana had mentioned Mutsumi's name as someone who now may put Vusimuzi Matlala's life at risk. What we know so far about Mutsumi is that he is someone who was in the taxi industry, but also owns a private security firm called Bazwimi. But it would seem that in these messages between witness F and Sibiya and Mutsumi, he's almost like a conduit. And there's a particular meeting that has been discussed at length with regards to General Sibiya meeting with Mutsumi. And you've mentioned how he said he could never have been a part of the meeting. But the detail of, well, how would you have known if Mutsumi was still at this particular place in Branston, his boss was going to meet them? And also, why wouldn't Mutsumi speak directly to Sibiya? It's the same allegation that witness F faces with Vusimuzi Matlala, insofar as being someone who actually used to have Matlala's bank card and would actually issue out payments to Sibiya from this particular bank card.
Africa Chaskelson, what type of thread is he beginning to weave as far as these relationships that would be existing either between the National Deputy Police Commissioner with Vusimuzi Matlala, with Mr. Mutsumi, or with Mr. Msibi, and the go-between, of course, being witness F?
Well, you'll recall that the evidence that was led by General Nkosazana was that Jotham Msibi, otherwise known as Mswazi, the late Pretoria businessman and taxi boss, was one of the leaders of the so-called Big Five cartel. And we heard a short while ago, probably like 30 minutes ago, witness F, that is, was being asked about the nature of his relationship between himself and Mswazi, and he was saying that Mswazi raised him up until he was in grade 11, and also that he wanted to be saved as big boss. What we are seeing now, insofar as the evidence that is being led by Matthew Chaskelson, is that it would seem that witness F, he has admittedly had a very close relationship with Mswazi, but remember that the crime intelligence head, Dumsani Khumalo, had also testified that the cartel that is led by Mswazi had actually solicited and was paying senior South African police service members to also do their bidding internally. It leads us to the other issue that has been raised by the commissioners about police officers, in particular witness F, sharing internal South African police service documents with civilians, i.e. being Steve Motsumi in particular. There's a message where witness F forwards a message that had been sent to him by Sibiya, in which Sibiya had said that he's making his way to the OR Tambo International Airport because the National Commissioner of Eswatini had died, and so Sibiya was going there. And Commissioner Baloy really pushing witness F on this issue as to why did witness F deem it important to share this information with Steve Motsumi, and also, in that message, he refers to Sibiya as number one. Why did he refer to Sibiya as number one? In fact, the nature of the message, according to Baloy, is that it's between a boss and their subordinate. So why did witness F deem it necessary to forward internal SAPS communication from his boss, someone who's not his friend, to someone who is outside of the South African Police Service and is actually a civilian?
Now, Ziyanda, of course, at every step of the way, witness F would attempt to want to distance himself as the originator of some of these WhatsApp messages, saying he's awaiting the High Court ruling on this particular matter. Of course, the commission would thunder ahead, and eventually he would agree that, yes, it came from him, somewhat reluctant. What would be the implication of the outcome of this High Court challenge to these WhatsApp messages?
Well, the urgent application that's been launched by witness F is to actually not continue with the testimony. Now, that is going to be heard next Tuesday on the 10th of February, where the court will be able to make a determination, because they have mentioned that they don't want to self-incriminate, because by virtue of the fact that they were mentioned by the commission to the president and was unveiled by the president in his statement last week as one of those who need to be investigated further by this this soon-to-be formed, I should say, Special Investigations Task Team. They are no longer just a witness, but actually could be a possible accused, and therefore, whatever they may say before this Commission of Inquiry may implicate themselves. They've cited Section 35(3) of the Constitution, which deals with fair trial rights, as one of the reasons behind why they're going to seek this urgent court interdict. And so this is part of the reason why they were reluctant to deal with the WhatsApp messages. They also spoke about the concerns that they had about how these WhatsApp messages were extrapolated, intimating that there's a possible manipulation of what has been submitted as a part of the evidence before this commission, insofar as the outgoing and incoming calls, what is represented as a forwarded message versus a message that was sent directly from him. And so that was part of the large chunk of what had to be dealt with earlier this morning.
That is our Ziyanda Ngcobo. She's live for us there in the capital, in Pretoria. That is where the Madlanga Commission is currently on a slight break, to be back at least in the next 2 minutes, according to the chairperson of the commission there.